one thing, there's a couple of things I stress whenever I teach this class before I get started. First one, the reason I ask that is even though, to me, prominent is just being heavy on social media. I am very prominent on social media, but I'm by no means like a super expert or anything. So as I'm teaching, we'll save questions till the end, but as I'm going, if you guys are like, no, I know a better app than that, or I have a quicker way of doing that, raise your hand, share it with the class. I'm always willing to learn too, you won't hurt my feelings. The other thing I always like to mention as well is, for me, social media has been kind of like my free postcard. A lot of people, after I taught this class the first couple of times and even prior, were like, oh, you know, you're big on social media because you're so young, that kind of thing. For me, it's really not that. I'm just kind of a cheaper agent and I don't like to put money out. So for me, that's kind of what got me into it. And then the last thing that I stress as well is at the end, I go over really quickly United Home Group, which is, are you guys familiar with Cody Gibson? Yeah. Someone over here?
Yes, I know.
Yeah? Yeah? Okay. Have you guys taken Bold? Raise your hand if you've taken Bold. Okay, cool. So Cody Gibson is a very, very sought after Bold coach, especially on the West Coast. Was anybody at the most recent family reunion? Okay, so Cody Gibson was up top of the stage for State of the Company with Gary Keller. So very well known. United Home Group is his expansion team. I am his regional director for our region. So I will go quickly over the expansion team. However, majority of the time, about 40 minutes or so, will be social media, since I know that's what you guys are here for. If you guys, once I wrap up the social media piece, don't care to hear about United Home Group, you won't hurt my feelings. If you guys have somewhere to be, calls to make, lunch to eat, won't hurt my feelings. You ready?
Oh, good.
Cool. Literally live now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Hi, everyone. Cool. So, like I mentioned, the reason I love social media is it can be absolutely free. 99% of what I post is free. The only time I do boosting or ads is if it's my own personal listing. Otherwise, it's just, again, my free postcard, my free way to stay in front of people, especially my sphere of influence. Have you guys gotten business from your social media? Raise your hand.
Yes.
Awesome, amazing, I love it. Is most of the business you guys get from social media, raise your hand if it's through your sphere. So everybody else, you have random people message you on social media to buy or sell a home?
Yeah.
I love this office. Okay, cool. So what got me to create this class is I typically get 2 or 3 leads per week via social media. So I figured, okay, I will make this my own little niche. It is the bulk of my own business, typically a transaction every other month or so, coming from social media. I, however, to be transparent with you guys, some of my social media business is complete strangers. It's people that see me on there and say, hey, I see you sell a lot in X area, or I see you have a lot of good reviews. I'd love for you to take care of my family member or myself, that kind of thing. However, about at least 80% of my business that comes from social media is sphere or extended sphere. So again, it's just my free postcard, my way to stay in front of people. And I love social media because it doesn't just show us as, what's your name?
Vic.
Vic. Not just Vic the realtor, it shows Vic as a person as, do you have kids?
No.
No, do you have a dog?
No.
Okay. Do you, something about you?
I work out a lot.
Okay. Vic the exercise man.
Yeah.
The fitness man, yeah. It just shows you as a person, and that's why I love social media. So raise your hand if you guys keep your accounts together. Facebook, it's not a business page, it's just personal. Or Instagram, are they all together?
Facebook is divided, but because there's a business page, and then Instagram is just one.
Okay, cool, cool. Honest to God, I more so ask out of curiosity. I don't think one way is right, one way is wrong. However, I myself, I'm one of those crazy lunatics that I literally downloaded. There's an app called InstaFollow. And on that app, you can see whenever anybody unfollows you on Instagram. I tell everybody, I stress every time I teach this class, if you get that app, be prepared to be kind of depressed for like 30 minutes because you're going to be like, oh my God, my own Aunt Mary unfollowed me on Instagram. That's perfect. With that being said, I have found from that app, if I post any business things on my personal page, it's just like, boom, everybody just drops like flies. I can just mention the word house, and I'm like, okay, my own mom just blocked me. That's so great. But on my business page, if I post anything business related, it either stays the same or it grows. That's been my kind of story with that. However, the reason I say I don't think either way is right or wrong, anytime I've taken a social media class, I've actually been taught to do the opposite of what I do. So if anybody's doing the opposite of what I do, I guess you're technically doing it right. But I always like to share that, just in case anybody falls along my lines. I've found that the spam posting is more acceptable on a business account. When you guys are posting on your personal pages, are you pointing at your business page and vice versa?
Yes.
Yes.
That's something I definitely encourage to do so, especially when you are posting on your personal page, is either tag your business page or share from your business page to your personal page. Because you guys, especially with business Facebook, you've probably seen you can invite all 4,000 friends and you get like 200 likes and you're just kind of like, okay, now what? But if you share your business page on there, the likes start to happen organically, especially because I like to keep them separate for the reasons that I stated a minute ago. But also, in addition to that, business Facebooks were made for people to boost their content. So if you're not boosting, even if you have the 4,000 followers, if all of your friends like your business page, the algorithm still isn't in your favor. So make sure you are sharing from your business account onto your personal account. For all my posts, I always calendar it, which I will stress a little bit later as well, and I'll get a little bit more into detail on that. With that being said, raise your hand. Have you guys heard the algorithm to post your important content between 1 to 3 p.m. on Wednesdays? You guys, okay, cool. So yeah, between 1 to 3 p.m. on Wednesdays and also late weekend mornings. I myself, also kind of playing with it, have found a lot of good results if I post in the evenings. You have to be conscious about, like, when are people going to be on their phone, when are they going to be scrolling through social media. For me, when I was solely in the agent role and I was actively selling real estate, my 1 to 3 p.m. on Wednesday was always a just listed, just sold, or in escrow. And then as we keep going, I'll get into what I posted in that 1 to 3 sweet spot if I didn't have a just listed for sale or in escrow. Does your office caravan, I assume? No, you don't anymore? Okay. Okay, so So I definitely recommend when you guys are either caravanning, when you're on a home inspection, when you're showing property, no matter what you're doing at any given time, if it's something that you want to put out there to show, you know, I'm Elizabeth, I'm the real estate agent, take a bulk of photos in one day. So even if you're caravanning and you're literally just at one home, or you're just showing one property, take multiple pictures so that on the days that you don't have content to put in front of people, you have something in your back pocket, no pun intended, to get onto social media in front of people. The one thing I stress as well, which I will show you guys an example of later, is having white space on all your accounts. So whether it be Facebook or Instagram, the idea behind that is if you slow the scroll, if there's more for them to see, it's going to catch more attention. I also firmly believe that it looks more aesthetically pleasing if something's spaced out rather than a big block of text looking like you pasted the dictionary or something. Okay, so when on Facebook, I do stress, like I led in with, is posting business and then also posting personal. So people get to know you as either the fitness guy or the crazy dog-obsessed weirdo or whatever you guys are. Sharing from your business account, like I mentioned. And then the one thing I stress too with social media is how many people, and don't lie because I know it's a ton of people, how many people have the discomfort when your team leader or your coach or your business partner, whoever says, let's go through our phone and let's call up somebody we haven't talked to for 4 years, 5 years. She's like, woohoo! With that being said, I use social media as a way to get my foot in the door. So for me, that's literally like my subtle stroke of like, I literally time block for the same way we time block to lead generate. I time block for my like trolling time of day to scroll through Instagram, scroll through Facebook, and whenever I see things, not just something that triggers a move or triggers a buy or sale, just something that triggers conversation. They usually go hand in hand. You'll see where I'm going with this in a second. If I see somebody posted their engagement photos, or they had a baby, or they got a dog, or whatever, those are the things that I always gravitate towards. Like I said, they typically elicit a move, but it's also something that I myself, especially 4 years ago when I was brand spanking new, I felt comfortable messaging them, being like, hey, long time no talk, saw you got engaged, that's amazing. And you guys know from either your own actions, from your productivity coach, team leader, whoever, you guys know that when you reach out to people and you say, like, that's so great, what else is new with you? They're gonna ask you the same. So I use social media as a good way to get my foot in the door. One other thing I always encourage you guys to post is a vendor shout out. So through vendor shout outs, I've gotten referral business. So that's literally just a video with me and or that vendor saying, hey, here's so-and-so, my amazing lender partner. Here's what's going on in their world. Maybe this loan program is applicable to you or somebody you know. Or here's an update from the home warranty realm. So it's kind of twofold. One, you can get referral business. Two, you're putting out to your sphere and extended sphere, strangers, whoever, that you're not just the real estate agent, you're not just buying and selling homes, you know the whole real estate realm to an extent. And then three, we're taught from day one as new agents, we're taught that everybody we work with is our team. I've literally had a bulk of my vendor shout outs have been with one of my favorite home warranty reps, and I've literally had clients who, after I connect them with Old Republic Home Protection, they'll say, oh my God, that was Jessica, she's amazing, and I totally recognize her from your videos. Like, I feel like I already know her. So it's just made transactions more seamless. It's gotten me referrals that way. And again, it exemplifies you and your team and your knowledge of real estate as a whole. So as I mentioned before, Wednesdays, 1 to 3, that was all my just listed, in escrow, or just sold. Whenever I didn't have a just listed, in escrow, or sold, that was my time, the Wednesdays, 1 to 3, to post my I have a buyer. If I wasn't posting it that Wednesday, it got moved to somewhere else in the week. Weekly, when I was actively selling, there was always at least one I have a buyer post per week. Has anybody seen Cody Gibson's 7 Steps to 10 Listings in a Month? Nobody. I'm like, too bad this is live, he's gonna see this. Definitely check it out. I can come back and teach it. Incredible content. But one of the things that Cody stresses is posting at least one I have a buyer per week. The idea behind that is, one, you can find the perfect home for your buyer and possibly double end a transaction that way. So it could be a potential win-win for you and your client, for your client, however way you spin it. Great tool. But then also, the more people see that you have a buyer, then these potential sellers down the road are going to think, what's your name? Nikki, that Nikki has all the buyers. And before we list our home, we're going to have to reach out to Nikki because Nikki has all the buyers. That one I can attest to. That one's one of my favorites. So here's an example of that post. So I actually took this, again, from Cody's 7 Steps to 10 Listings in a Month. And like I mentioned earlier, white space slows the scroll, which attracts more eyes. And it's also just more aesthetically pleasing in general. Raise your hand again if you've taken bold. A handful of you, okay. Get it, raise your hand. So in bold, we learn about your RAS, your reticular activating system. So with your RAS, we learn that the brain likes specifics, and the brain starts to recognize patterns. I will show you guys, through my own I have a buyer post, I've started to create patterns. Through my own just listed, just sold in an escrow, patterns there. The one pattern disrupt that Cody actually taught me himself was that since the brain likes specifics, to be as specific as possible with your I have a buyer post. So that goes something like, I'm working with Mr. and Mrs. Smith. They just welcomed their first newborn baby into the world. With that said, they need to buy a bigger home. They're looking for a 3+2 in Lancaster. They're looking up to $400,000. Who do you know within this criteria thinking about selling their home? So being specific, showing the home type or showing the community name, because again, what sticks with people is specifics. The one thing stressed on the left and on the bottom is if you guys choose to, you can group agents in your Facebook friends into a group on Facebook and exclude the posts from them, if you guys choose to. And if you guys, I see some of you taking pictures, if you guys miss it, grab my card when I wrap up and I'll email the slides to you guys as well. So like I mentioned, I'm pretty sure I'm the world's cheapest agent. I do not like to put money out. However, with my own listings, I did do boosting and I did run ads. The one thing I'd like to share about boosting that was taught to me by my productivity coach is I was so stumped. I started boosting thinking like this is going to be the success to my business. This is the secret sauce. This is going to roll in the leads. I can't wait, I just threw out, you know, a whopping $10, like, I'm gonna be the listing queen. So I like sent my $5 or $10 to Facebook land, and I swear, my views and likes went from like 50 to 100 to like negative 1,000. I was just like, nobody's seeing this post, this is hindering me, what is this boosting thing? And I was talking to my productivity coach one day about it, saying, I don't understand, I'm trying to be social media savvy, I can't figure out this boosting thing. And he was like, well, you know, what kind of keywords are you using when you boost? And I was like, well, I'm obviously like a real estate genius, so I've been putting like home and garden, decorating, downsizing, home buying, house. And he was like, no, you dingus, you're literally boosting to a bunch of agents around wherever. He's like, you need to put words that are gonna elicit a sale. So then he was telling me like death, divorce, marriage, pregnancy, dog, and I was just like, well, that's kind of all over the place, kind of dark, kind of happy, but okay. And I started to do that, and that started to make it go from like 100 views to in the thousands. So if you guys are boosters, if you're not doing that already, that's something that I recommend playing with. So who's active on Instagram? Awesome. So the one that I have yielded the most results from, especially as of recently, is, and again, get permission from an agent if you guys choose to do this. If it's not your own listing, it's something I can't stress enough. I know your broker and I don't want him mad at me. What I did recently, because I'm not actively really buying and listing homes anymore, so what I did recently was on my business Instagram, I found a good deal, and you guys know a good deal in your area when I see it better than, or when you see it better than I do. So I went on the MLS, and I know that in my general area, a single family for $550 or under, that's a great deal. So I found a $550 single family, single story home on a cul-de-sac, and I was like, oh my goodness, the whole world has to see this one. I literally did an Instagram story, just clicking through its photos, vague enough that I knew if somebody was interested, they were gonna have to start a conversation. And I just said, local single story home, under $550, who wants to take a look? 3 qualified leads within like 10 minutes. Cost me nothing. So that's something I would keep in mind. The other, where it says poll or question, have you guys seen on Instagram, people will post like, do you like this, yes or no? Or what color tile, like black or white? I don't mean poll in that sense. For me, I use that to stay in front of people, but that's not really eliciting conversations for me. The poll/question for me is on Instagram, you can post like a little text box, which if anybody hasn't seen this before, I can show you after the class. You guys can put a text box that literally you can write, ask me anything. You can message yourself, they don't know where the message came from, you can message yourself things that you think your clients should know. Is now a good time to sell? Heck yeah. Does it cost me anything to use a buyer's agent? And I joke around, like run with it. It's a twofold thing. It shows your sphere and people following you that everybody wants to ask you questions. And there's people interested in working with you. But it also puts information in their face that you don't want to shove into their face because it's organic. So something I would message to myself is, what does it cost to use a buyer's agent? And I'd respond something like, oh my God, I'm so glad you asked. It doesn't cost you anything. Thank you so much. But you know, they don't know where it came from. So that one I love, because I've had people be like, oh my God, is it really free? And I'm like, I'm so glad you asked it. God, my inbox is blowing up today. Thanks. So that one I love. Who in here knows what an Instagram story highlight is? Okay. So those of you that don't, if you look at somebody's Instagram today, more often than not, you will see when you're looking at their main Instagram page, like you're on their physical page itself, above their photo feed and right under their bio, there's going to be little circles if they have Instagram highlights. And the circles are going to be labeled X, Y, and Z. And then each highlight is going to be like a bucket of things that are relative to X, things that are relative to Y, relative to Z. So something I encourage you guys to do that I've generated myself business is to bucket your business into highlights. For example, some things, and you guys probably have similar instances yourself, some things on my business account that has yielded me business is I screenshot all reviews I get and I throw them on social media. One, because I don't expect Mr. and Mrs. Buyer to check out my Zillow, check out my Yelp, check out my Google business page where all my reviews are scattered all over God knows where, or getting hidden by stupid Yelp. Like, it's a lie, I shouldn't say that. So I've put them on social media. With that being said, in highlights, people can get a taste of who you are and what your business is all about without scrolling back years at a time. So if you guys have your reviews in one bucket and one highlight, you're just listed in one bucket and one highlight, just sold. If you guys have the different areas you serve, so if you have a highlighted bucket for Palmdale, for Lancaster, just showcasing different things, it just makes it easier for the consumer. And no pun intended, it highlights certain aspects about you. Who in here is comfortable making videos on social media? I'm like, you guys, I'm currently doing a live. I need more hands than that. No, I'm kidding. I'm teasing. So with that being said, the reason I stress videos is anybody that has any type of business account, Facebook or Instagram, you can track your views and engagements on your business accounts. It's something I track myself, and I see whenever I post videos, engagements and views always double. Even if it's the stupid boomerang where I'm like dancing around because my client's offer got accepted, or now I'm dancing around because we added another agent to United Home Group, whatever it is, views always increase. So if you guys aren't comfortable talking in front of a camera, do a quick little boomerang. And for those of you that don't know what boomerang is, I'll get into that in a couple minutes as well. One thing I love, not that I think this is the end-all be-all, and again, not that I'm a social media genius, but anybody who either follows me currently or follows me in the future or watching me now, you will see me blooper. And I love to share bloopers because, again, I love to show that I go to the gym or I'm dog obsessed or whatever it is. I love to show your personality so that we don't seem like those car salesmen that are like, buy and sell with me, buy and sell with me, buy and sell with me. So I can't stress bloopers enough. One, because like I said, they show authenticity, and two, they more often than not make conversation. I've had so many times where people DM me like, yes, I was watching your story hoping it was a blooper, I love it. And then whenever people respond to anything social media with me on my business account, I always, thanks so much, I'm glad you enjoy it. Anyways, shameless plug, since you responded to my business account, who do you know looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? They're already talking to you, so why not? On Instagram, you guys can post stories. If this is something you haven't seen, again, see me after. So stories showing you in the field. Who in here is a newer agent? Cool, so something I did my first 6 months to a year, even if I was literally only on Caravan or going to the open house because I knew they had free tacos, nobody knew I was there for the free food. On Instagram, it was I'm looking for clients. I'm previewing for a client. Out showing a client. You guys get where I'm going with that? And like I said, you can still be looking for clients. So saving yourself time. I mentioned earlier, you want to calendar your social media the same way it's stressed upon us to calendar your lead generation. So it's not just calendaring to post your just listed, to post your I have a buyer, to post your just sold. It's also calendaring the time to create that post. So edit the photo, put the banner on, set that time aside, because if we do that all on Wednesday between 1 and 3, if we don't have it ready to post and copy and paste, we're going to happen to have that one inspection that goes haywire, or that one client that won't blow us a loan, or that one buyer's agent that's like, when are you going to respond to my offer? What's going on? You guys know, so much stuff comes up, so have everything ready to go. And templates. So what MOCV is on here, at home we have Moms of Conejo Valley. I'm sure you guys have something similar, and I'm sure your something similar isn't just for moms. But on these local pages, there's constantly people, hey, who's a realtor that you know? Who should I connect with? Or thinking about selling my home, or can anybody help me buy a home? If you guys have, does everybody in here have an iPhone or Android? If not, do you guys have like a Rock or something? I hope you guys have one of those. So on both of those phones, you guys have a notes app. So on both of those phones, there's no reason why you guys can't have a template of, hey, I'm Elizabeth Kammen. I serve X, Y, and Z county. I have been in the business for X many years. Here's my website. Here's a link to reviews, etc. Have these things ready to go, So social media isn't this daunting thing, it's this actual lead generating tool, it's a pillar of business. Have your template for your I have a buyer post. I'll throw up here later one of mine, and it's always the same font. Again, like I mentioned before, your RAS, your brain like specifics. It always has the same banner across the top. The only thing that changes is the home type or the complex and my client's details, if they're looking for a 3+2 or a 4+2, whatever. Those things change, but otherwise everything looks the same. It's a template in my phone, it's always ready to go. Just listed and just sold templates. I have hashtags, I have notes on my phone. So if I was you guys, I'd have a note on my phone for Lancaster. I'd have a note on my phone for Palmdale. I don't know what else is around here, but whatever it is, I would have a note on my phone for it. And then also, your broker will appreciate this one, having your DRE and office information in a note as well. So what I do, no matter what I'm posting, no matter which hashtag note it is, they all have Elizabeth Kammen, DRE, da-da-da-da-da, Keller Williams, da-da-da-da-da, before all my hashtags. So whenever I copy and paste, I'm compliant, and I'm getting my hashtags out. I also have a caption saved for my reviews that I post, because like I said, I do screenshot all reviews because I rather err on the side of caution that Mr. and Mrs. Buyer or Mr. and Mrs. Seller aren't seeing all my reviews, or they're not seeing the best ones, or the reviews are hidden, thank you again Yelp. And then also a caption for whenever I post reviews. Those are saved as well, and then the links for my reviews themselves. And then what the links are is not just to showcase my reviews, but it's for when I close a transaction. That's quick and easy as well. Hey, you moved in 2 weeks ago. I'm sure the dust is settling. If not, no rush. But here's the link to my Yelp, my Zillow, my Google business page, my whatever. Whatever is easiest for you. If you could throw up a review on there, I'd really appreciate it. So things to post. You guys might want to take a picture of this one. Again, don't stress if you miss it. You guys can email me and I'll send you the slides. But some ideas of what to post, just to, again, stay in front of people, is caravan, home decor, listings, appointments. I love this one because people ask me all the time, like, do you take a selfie with your client? What do you do? And I'm like, well, sure. A little weird sometimes, but depending on your client, why not? I don't know. But also, you know, when you're meeting a client at Starbucks, take a picture of your friggin' Starbucks cup and just write, you know, Saturday, but I'm still working, or here, waiting for my client to meet me on an appointment, whatever it is. Contracts when writing. Obviously, make sure that you cross out any pertinent information. If you guys are on Instagram or on an iPhone, I don't know about Android, but on your iPhone, on your photos, you can blur out any pertinent information on there itself. One of my favorites is referral business. So who in here has sent out a piece of referral business before? Awesome. So where I'm going with that is, last year I sent out 4 pieces of referral business, 4 outbound referrals. Last year I was also an assistant team leader, so I found a significant dip in my business. I had like 2 or 3 months where I was like, ooh, 1 closing. I needed, what am I going to post now? Like, what do I do? So what I did was I reached out to all the 4 agents that I referred to, because they were all ironically within that like 1 or 2 month window. And I said, hey, you know, you represented X, Y, and Z, family member, friend, whatever for me. Would it be okay with you if I post a picture of the home that you sold and put my sold banner? I'll give you a shout out, I'll tag you, it'll help build your business, but it'll also help build mine. How does that sound? And they were all like, heck yeah, okay. I'd love to be your friends and families, you know, go-to for Georgia or go-to for wherever. So I did, which I'll show you guys, my exact same sold banner, as if it was one of my listings that sold, one of my buyers that bought, that kind of thing. And again, like I mentioned before, your RAS, your reticular activating system, your brain starts to recognize things. And I laughed at this one, and it goes to show how prominent that idea is. I posted a home in Georgia, tagged the Georgia agent, the location said wherever in Georgia, the caption said, thank you for taking care of my family. Both of my parents texted me, we didn't know you had a house closing this week. People don't even read. So remember that. It's what people recognize. Throwbacks. So something I have calendared is if I don't have something to post on a Thursday, who in here has Facebook? Probably everybody. Cool. I'm like, if not, I wonder. No, I'm kidding. But on Facebook, you guys probably see it has the memories tab. So you can see a year ago today, I sold this. 2 years ago today, I sold that. That's one of my go-to on Thursday. So if I don't have anything on Thursday, or I have a couple of caravan pictures, that kind of thing, I'll always give a throwback priority. And I'll always post. And the cool thing about it is it's also twofold. Because when I post that throwback, I'll say, sold Mr. and Mrs. Smith this house in Camarillo. They were great to work with. They still love their home, etc. And I'll tag them. And they'll chime in. And again, it's like a second review. Because they're like, Elizabeth, you were so great, da-da-da-da-da. So I definitely encourage posting throwbacks. Enjoying your city and city happenings. Again, that's something you guys can utilize now that you're going to hopefully start using Instagram highlights. But even on posts, just showing yourself active in your city and enjoying your city. Keller Williams events, so things like family reunion, mega camp, bold, and then office classes. I know Amy will definitely appreciate that one. And then being intentional about your brand. So not just real estate. So whether it is fitness, or me being dog obsessed, or do you have children, family? Yes. Posting your children. Showing that you're a real human. People want to work with people that they connect with. So be intentional about posting things that people are going to resonate with. The one other thing I like to stress as well, and I'm not saying go home and post like, oh my god, I'm so depressed, life sucks, and think that leads are going to roll in, because that's probably not going to be the case, hate to break it to you. But if you show yourself even on a bad day, so if you're genuinely authentic with people and just say, you know what, this week was freaking rough, this escrow fell out, this deal put me through the ringer, my dog got out, my kid's been sick, whatever, I've found for myself, and even when I'm commenting to other people, those are the posts that generate more eyes, because again, people like to connect with people that they have something in common with, or they can connect with. So again, with using social media as getting your foot in the door, use the ups and downs of your life to build connection and build conversation. And as if I haven't stressed it enough, calendar these things. I would encourage at least 3 to 5 posts per week. Some things those can be, aside from just listed, just sold, and an escrow, like I've stressed, the I have a buyer, anything in the business, previewing property, at a home inspection, at an appraisal, weekend open houses, caravan. And then this one I would take a picture of. This one I'll leave up for a second. Yeah. It's funny because when I first taught this, I was like, how do you say that word? So I'm like, I'll get out of your guys' way.
Is that where you use Ripple for your banners? For the
Yes.
sold that?
I was going to say, so my favorite and my main go-to, even now outside of sales, even as a regional director, I still use Ripple like crazy. Ripple is how I do my just listed, just sold, or an escrow banner, which I'll throw up here in a second. I'll show you guys. Boomerang. Does anybody not know what boomerang is? Okay, so what that one is, have you guys seen videos of people doing something like repetitive over and over? That's a boomerang. So Boomerang does have its own separate app, and it is also a part of Instagram now, so you can use it either way. Insta size, I can't stress enough, because nothing drives me more bonkers than ex-agent posting that they have an open house this weekend, they can't wait to see us there, but the whole photo doesn't fit on Instagram. And you can't see the address, you can only see part of the time, and you're like, well, I literally can't see you there even if I wanted to. Like, where's the information, you dingus? So what InstaSize does is it adds that white frame around a photo, so that it not only fits on the thumbnail, but the photo fits on Instagram itself. Videorama I also love, because if you guys haven't noticed, I do talk 10 miles a minute. So any video that I make, I more often than not, I'll throw out text on there. So if I want to highlight something that I'm saying, if I talk so fast that I'm hard to understand, I'll throw out text on there. And it's also great too, if you guys are showcasing an upcoming listing, or you're talking about a home you have an escrow, or you're talking about the market, whatever you're talking about, it's a good way for you to throw up, hey, my name's Elizabeth, here's my phone number, I'm with Keller Williams AV Valley. Just text on there for them to have stronger takeaways. It's a very easy app. The one thing I will stress is even though I am Social media prominent, I am not tech savvy at all. So I can use this app. Your guys' dogs can probably figure out Videorama. Cut story, you guys can disregard. Instagram does this feature now. That was a way to get an entire video to fit on an Instagram story. And then the bottom one, I can't stress enough. So that's how you change fonts on social media. This one's also twofold. One, it catches people's attention because it looks different. They're scrolling down their Facebook feed or Instagram feed and they see cursive and they're like, what in the what is that? I haven't seen that since 3rd grade. But then what it also is it's a conversation starter. So I more often than not, 99% of the time when I throw up a different font, it's on my business account. And when Mrs. Smith messages me to ask me, hey, how'd you do cursive? You bet I'm gonna write back and say, hey, who do you know looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? She messaged my business account, she's asking for it. So this is an example. All my just listed, just sold, and buyer needs all have this same banner. I do typically have more white space, like I've been stressing. However, the additional white space wouldn't fit on the slide. But if you guys do look at my social media, I'm not a fraud, it's there. So I do always have my office information, my DRE. Anything that's pertinent is always bolded. So I have a buyer, no matter who I'm posting about, always bolded. I always write that they're pre-approved because at this point they always are. If they're non-contingent, I bold that as well. I hashtag all the cities that they're looking in. It always has their price range, always has their 2+2, 3+2, and what have you. And I more often than not as well will put in a little excerpt about the family. They're moving here from Ohio, or they're moving out of their apartment because they just bought a dog, or they just had their first baby, whatever. Because you guys have probably found, how many people in here when you submit an offer, do your clients write a letter to the sellers? Cool, I encourage that. Off social media, but I encourage that. The reason I bring that up, same thing with social media. When you paint a picture of who your buyers are, they're having their first child, they just got married, you pull out heartstrings, and then it also paints a picture of like, okay, you have a real, actual buyer. So there you go. If you guys want to check out both of my Instagram accounts, I always stress I don't care at all if you guys take anything verbatim. As long as you're not posting, like my headshot or something creepy like that, feel free to screenshot whatever. Take whatever text that you want. The top one especially has a ton of the stuff I've been teaching to you. Bottom post is our United Home Group page. And I had somebody recently let me know that they actually had an inbound lead by doing what I suggested of scrolling through photos of a good deal in their area. And they were like, now I'm working with this buyer, it's amazing, like it works. So please, whether you email me, DM me on Instagram, text me, whatever, share your success stories with me, especially if it's something that I didn't teach and just something that worked well for you guys. I always want to learn more. So definitely please keep in touch. All right, so Q&A, and then I will get into a little bit of information on United Home Group. Go ahead.
So how quickly are you expected to respond if someone asks a question? Yeah,
On Instagram?
Instagram, Facebook, either one? I mean, is it like, do you have to do it like in 5 minutes?
I wouldn't treat it necessarily like, like we're taught with like an online lead, like boom, that kind of thing. For me, especially since most of the responses on my social media are extended sphere, I do have my time block social media time, but if I am free, I'll answer. I would encourage, especially if it's your extended sphere, to not answer immediately. Because if you're like, I'm this busy agent, but I answer you every second that you message me, it's kind of an oxymoron. But I would say, use your judgment.
Okay.
And then on social media too, at least even if it's a DM or a personal message on Facebook, you can see a snippet of what they're writing. So, if you're free, but you see that they're just like, cool post, you're like, okay, I'll get back to that later. Or if you're not so free and they're like, hey, I want you to come over and sell my house tomorrow, you might answer a little bit quicker. But again, I would definitely schedule response time, schedule a time to go through and, get your foot in the door by liking, commenting, etc. I think I saw another hand this way. Am I listening? Okay.
What about LinkedIn?
I get asked that almost every time I teach. I'm not a big LinkedIn person. I've done LinkedIn ads in my new role looking for talent. Otherwise, myself, as an active agent, I was posting, hey, I have an open house, hey, just listed. I never got anything from it. For me, I kind of feel like, and if anybody has success with LinkedIn, please share. But for me, I felt like LinkedIn was starting to get kind of flooded. So I just felt like, I'd post it, refresh, and my post would be like God knows where, and like the LinkedIn limbo. So for me, it's never been a lead generator, not in the sales role. Go ahead.
So your recommendation is to post on your business and then share it on your personal, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's something personal, then do it reversed?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And my Instagrams, again, not that I think one way is right or wrong, but my Instagrams are separate just because, like I said, I've posted like house stuff on my personal page and literally lost like family members as followers. And I'm like, okay, see you at the Christmas party, you jerk. So, any other questions? What?
So that was Instagram. So Facebook, same thing, you have separate pages?
I have separate. The main reason I got my Facebook business page, at least initially, was one, because the Facebook Instagram can feed to your Facebook business page. So it saves you time from posting twice, that kind of thing. But also, I kept running into, when I was asking my clients, hey, can you give me a Google review, or a Yelp review, or a Zillow review? It was that I don't have a Zillow account, I don't have Yelp, or I'm not a big Yelper. Because I would always ask them, because again, Yelp likes to hide things. I'd ask them, are you a big Yelper, that kind of thing. They didn't have Gmail, so they couldn't write on my Google business page. So to err on the side of caution, since everybody and their dogs has Facebook, I got the Facebook business page and started obtaining reviews there. Because again, since I was so prominent on social media from the get-go, I knew no matter where they review, even if it was them texting me of, hey, we don't have a platform to review you on, or hey, we're running around, but we just want to thank you so much for the smoothest escrow, da-da-da-da. Screenshot that. Any type of positive thing, anything being out in the field, whatever it is, just blast it out. So I initially got my Facebook business page for that reason.
Do you do more than on your business then? I mean, when you were selling real estate?
Business-wise, they're equal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even now as a regional director, anything United Home Group-wise, they're equal. Any other questions?
Smile.
As I'm like awkwardly like holding, what is this? I look like I'm casting a spell. It's not the first time. Somebody got a picture the other day where I'm literally like, and I'm like, okay, that's the best one. I guess I'll take it. Anyways, last call for questions. Cool. So I'm going to quickly go through United Home Group. I'll keep it very brief, under 5 minutes, because again, I know you guys are here for social media. And then I'll stick around if you guys have questions on UHG, United Home Group, or if you guys have questions on social media, feel free to come up and ask me. You can also grab my card as well, and if you guys shoot me an email, I can send you the slides. So again, I mentioned Cody Gibson's name a couple of times. He is the CEO of United Home Group. Founded Portland Real Estate Group in 2011, and then from there he started to expand his team throughout the country. So he took his systems and models that were a scalable and predictable business that were used by him and other mega agents on his team, and started stamping those systems and models throughout the country. We're now in 25 states, over 100 market centers, and over 240 agent partners. So we have coaching and consulting support, marketing support, and then on here, I won't read the whole thing verbatim because then I don't want to overextend your guys' time in here. But we have coaching, we have a call center, we have marketing, business cards, flyers for sale signs, open house signs, Commissions Inc., which also brings in inbound leads and is also a auto-responding website. Transaction coordination, listing coordination, scripts, accountability, all that fun stuff. So I will, again, go here. So what this pretty much explains the last side, and what it exemplifies is what if you guys could have weekly accountability and coaching, if you have somebody marketing to your database, if you could have a call center waiting to make calls for you, transaction support to help you grow your business in less time. And then for any additional information on that, again, I'll be here. You guys can shoot me an email or check out uhgconnect.com. And then last thing before I let y'all go, all my slides were made by my friend Jennifer. She's also an agent in my office in Westlake Village, so if you guys need any type of marketing support as well, she is here. And yeah, thank you guys.
Thank
Thank
you. If you guys want to come to the command training at 2:30, it's going to be lit. It's going to be so awesome. It's going to be visible
That was great.